Welcome, everybody. This is Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, May the 2nd, 8:36 p.m. Thank you so much for being. We're live here at LPO. A lot of exciting news around Orlando City. Not so exciting news about Orlando Pride. And then obviously a couple of news that have come up during the span of the few hours regarding former players of Orlando City. The game against Charlotte, I expected more out of Charlotte, believe it or not. I expected a hard-fought battle. A lot of the refereeing, I wasn't too happy with the referee. I think referees like that should not ever get the chance to host any World Cup or professional soccer matches. That was horrendous what I saw on the pitch. And I want to say hello to everybody. Thank you to everybody that's on our Facebook, on our Twitter, LPO_podcast. Also, everybody that's live on our YouTube channel. Click on the notification bell for more notifications. We're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So thank you so much to everybody that's supporting this outlet, and also thank you to Orlando City for allowing us to cover, and do what we love, right? Which is cover Orlando City, Orlando Pride, and OCB. Dave, how are you, my friend? Happy days. Happy days.
Yes, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Luis. Happy Monday to everybody. Again, I don't get tired of saying this, Luis. I'm glad that a lot of people are enjoying the content. Several people approached me on Saturday night to uh, just basically thank us for the content, and we do it. We do it because we love the club. As you guys know, my stance when it comes to fan-driven creators, the fan-driven content, and all the creators behind them. We do this with one purpose only, because we love Orlando City. We do it for free, and our motives are never nefarious. We never want to hurt anybody, any group, or anything associated with Orlando City. So respect us for that reason alone. And great news! It was a great victory. We're super excited. We'll talk about this later on, but I was there with a friend from England. First time experiencing Orlando City. First time experiencing MLS and American football, and he couldn't stop talking about it. It was that impressive. Obviously, when you win that big, the experience is gonna be blown up. So yeah, it was a fantastic night. And one of the things, one of my favorite YouTubers, Ellis Platten, out of Away Days, the Away Days channel. Um, he's one of these guys that goes to different stadiums throughout the pyramid of English football, and does basically what I do in my channel, the Legendary David, just basically vlog about the games. Also, he's all about collecting jerseys, and he was this Saturday at the game, and he put out a video that I believe is like in the 30,000 range, probably more. Last time I checked,
Yeah,
showcasing our club. So
big
I'm
channel.
super excited, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get to that point, for sure. I mean, I know it's a matter of time, but with everyone's support, right, we can definitely get to those numbers at some point. Um, Again, I want to encourage everybody to follow us on our social media, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're as Loud and Proud Orlando. So let's start with some comments. Right, Victor Sanchez, how you doing? That's Purple Hearts. A great game for Orlando City for sure. We'll dive into that. Ahmed Selim says, great outcome. We play well. Referees left a lot to be desired, but I feel like we could have played better given our opponents, how our opponents were playing. Yeah, I was surprised about Charlotte. I expected the three amigos to link up. Alcibar, Titi Ortiz, and also Alan Franco. And Alan Franco had maybe a couple. He looked for that penalty, and then, we'll dive into that more. But the news right now, what's going and booming, I know it's making everybody, it's ruffling a lot of feathers. It's not ruffling a lot of feathers. I don't know. I sent some polls. There's one on Instagram, and then I sent one on Twitter regarding this. It's the news, and I'm gonna say here, Paul Tenorio, right? Paul Tenorio, famous soccer commentator, pretty much said that Chris Mueller, former Orlando City player, it's no longer at Hibernian, and he's looking for his way out of Hibernian. They let go his manager, and he's on his way back into the MLS, but not to Orlando City. He's apparently in further down heavy talks with Chicago Fire to be back. He's actually Mueller originally from Chicago. He's from Illinois. He was born in Illinois. So, he's back home, right? Quote unquote. And obviously, what Orlando is getting in return is money, because we have to sell. Orlando has to sell their, his rights, playing rights in the MLS to Chicago, and likely, possibly a trade, but more likely, I think, is general allocation money, right? And it sparked a lot of controversy, right? Some people wish him the best. Some people are saying, this is a player that I will never say he'll be forever a Lion, or the forever a Lion moniker doesn't apply to him. Some people say he was looking for his way out, and he made a crazy move to a league that is honestly, I mean, at the level of championship, or the Scottish league is only Celtic and Rangers. Come on, people. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be completely honest. And so and what are people's thoughts? So we're going to read the polls in just a moment. We're going to read your comments. Leave your comments now. Express your thoughts. We will love to hear you out. Dave, what are your thoughts regarding this news?
Well, first things first, I was disappointed. He only lasted in Europe not even 6 months. As a connoisseur of sorts of the British game, and this is something that Luis and I were talking. If you're gonna go to the UK to play football, England is the place where you want to go. Why? Because it's the constituent. I think that's the word. One of the four countries that make up the UK. They have a word for it. I can't remember what it was. Anyways, point is 56 million people live in England, 5 million in Scotland, and 1.5 respectively in Northern Ireland and Wales. So Scotland has about 3 divisions really, and like Luis said, the big boys, Celtic, Rangers, Hibernian, and Hearts are the ones at the very top, and basically everybody else comes in and out of the top flight. Is This is one of the things about Europe, and this is something that I discussed in Tiro de Esquina with our friend Sergio once, that when the situation with Facundo, I was saying that for Latin Americans, if somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to be a bench warmer in the first division of San Marino," that is an achievement. But if you are going to say, "Hey, I'm going to MLS to be a starter," then that's bad. Europe, for the sake of being Europe, it not necessarily translates into good football. There's big countries and little countries. And he went over there. My disappointment with the whole thing is he was signed in July, if I'm not mistaken, and the guy just checked out from Orlando City. He was not the same after that. He was visibly upset that he was forced to stay here, although he had a contract that kept him here. Hibernian could have paid to bring him earlier. They chose not to, because obviously they would have gotten him on a free in the winter window. So that's what they decided to do. And one thing that was very telling was during points with Pareja, somebody asked Oscar about the situation with Chris Mueller, and he said that if he could go back in time, that probably they would have approached it a different way. They had a player that really doesn't. It was just was a disruption. He had to constantly ask him, "Are you here? Are you gonna give me 100%? Are we?" And when you have a situation where you have to reiterate, reinforce, remind an employee that they are working there, that they have to do the work there. To me, that's problematic. Any of us know how in the United States it's not a tradition, but it's a customary to give your employer a 2-week notice before you move on to a new job. I don't know about you, but my worst work, I do it on those 2 weeks. I'm like, not doing that. I'm not starting that. To be quite honest, if somebody quits, just let them go. I don't understand the idea of the 2 weeks, because quite honestly, people are in those situations. They're already ready to move on. They're already telling you, I don't want to be here. So with that, I'm upset. As far as Orlando City, we're getting some money.
And I think a pick too, probably.
Yeah. Who knows? We may get a player in the deal. Who knows? Things are in the works, from what I hear. So I wish him the best. Him and his family, top people. His wife were always nice to the fans. I see already there's a lot of people ridiculing him and saying so mean things. I'm not gonna do that because I have to remember that that Chris gave us everything he had. Was it enough? Did it upset him? The things that he said in Hibernian, which in my opinion probably were
Yeah.
taken in
Uh,
context.
I've actually an image that obviously it was changed. You'll understand. Look at this. So they just, and this is from Rocco Staino. So I want to give a shout out. They sent me this, right? Apparently he said this to in Hibernian, but obviously they put Chicago Fire here, but
Hmm.
I mean it should have said Hibs, right?
Hmm.
Um, so he just said, I believe I was meant to be somewhere where they live, breathe, and die football. That's how I live my life. I feel like I belong at a club like Hibernian. But obviously they put Chicago Fire in there. Obviously they're already with the trolls and stuff, which is okay. I mean, honestly, as a fan perspective, I understand why some people will be upset because especially the supporters, right? They go out, they. I mean, look what they did against Charlotte, right? I mean, fantastic atmosphere, 17,000 people chanting from minute one to every single section was chanting. Corujo came out with a headache because people would just, every time he touched the ball, people were booing him. So I mean, people in Orlando were showing up. They showed up against Charlotte, right? So he lived. I think the 2018 season for Chris Mueller, no one's gonna forget that Chris Mueller. I mean, he was, I think, one of the best players in that team. And obviously, I don't know. I mean, I kind of
Hmm.
understand, live, breathe, and die football. Some of those supporters live, breathe, and die football. They're avid football fans. Maybe, obviously, the United States, it's not as maybe a rich soccer culture, historic soccer culture as maybe, the Scottish, but you can downplay it kind of sounds like a downplay, right? Which I understand why some people will get frustrated about that. Personally, I just like you said, Dave. I wish him the very best. And whatever he does, I honestly think that we have the pieces that we're not gonna honestly, you know, cry about it. Players come and go. The club stays, the crest stays, the supporters stay, the history stays, the cups stay, right? So I think we're ready to move on, right? I mean, good for him. I mean, he's going to be with Shakiri, and I mean, the
So he's gonna
family,
get home and
his
close to his
girlfriend.
family. He's a newlywed, his in-laws, all that. So to Chris, I wish him the best.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
by the way, is constitute Jesus. This word is never gonna drive me. It's gonna drive me crazy. Constitute. Hold on a second. Constituent. That's
Constituent.
the word I was looking for.
So before we move on to a different topic, I'm gonna go ahead and read some comments here. It says Jim D. Ruan is back, baby. Victor Sanchez Mueller better be ready for the wall.
Oof. Next year. Yeah.
Yep, that's right. Brian Guerrero, I want to say hello, my friend. First pick and general allocation money. That's right. Jim D. He's a young kid. I would have said way more stupid stuff at that age. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's
and
true. That's
I
true.
understand. That's true. I mean, and his book is
Well,
superb. I
and
mean,
before
his book's superb. I
And
think
before
it's
we move on, one thing about Chris, Orlando City fans at Hips were super excited about
yeah,
bring him over. What ended up happening was there was a war of words between those fans and our fans here, and at the end of the day, what it did is it destroyed bridges, hurt their feelings over there in Scotland, and some people just okay, I'm done with Orlando City. So uh, we have to, as a fan base, we have to respect when people
right.
are overseas and following other clubs. I just wanted to say that because at the time it broke my heart, and just because Chris is quote unquote saying these things, we shouldn't be insulting the clubs of fellow fans.
Right, that's right. Well, we did a poll in on Instagram, right? And soon, Pineda underscore RL is going to be LPO underscore podcast. So I'm just saying right now, throwing it out there, and I will get a different account, which I will announce in just a moment. Chris Mueller to Chicago. Good for him. Wishing the best. 25%. He just wanted out of Orlando by all means. 50%. He should have stayed in Europe. 0%. he should have never left Orlando 25%. So there's a lot of mixed feelings, right? When it comes to Mueller. I personally still remember the best Chris Mueller to me was the 2018 Chris Mueller. I won't be able to forget that Chris Mueller, in my opinion. I mean, what a player. And
Best
then,
goal against Atlanta. I
of
will never forget
course,
that.
yeah, that was great. I mean, maybe he'll do great in Chicago, right? And you just want to, you don't want to wish anybody ill intent, you
No,
know.
absolutely not.
You gotta
Especially
be
nice people like him. I mean, come on.
right, right. So I retweeted this out of the LPO account, so everybody go follow Loud and Proud Orlando. Right here, um, Jimmy D, which is Jim D. Can't fault the guy for trying to improve his life or career. He should have been more careful with some of his remarks, and he should have been all in until the end of our season. His replacement is either Benji, Gastón, or Facu. I'm okay with that. No hard feelings. I agree. And then you got also other people right here. Good for him. This is Mirones FSA. I don't know his name. It says, glad he's back home where he's most comfortable. Hopefully he doesn't go too hard on us next time he plays us. Right? And then Jay. I want to say hello to Jay. I have no hard feelings for Mueller, even though he gave up last season. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't do better for Hibbs. He should have been able to come back to the MLS and have a good career. If he can find that 2020 season form again, yeah. 2018 and 2020 to me were the two best years of him. I wish him the best of luck. Yeah, same here. And then he had 4 likes. Buddy Dangers is me looking for somebody to.
I gotta steal that.
Adam Pike. I was bummed City didn't get any compensation with the Hibbs transfer. This is a nice little bonus. Not a fan of how he exited the club, but I wish him no ill will. Same here. I agree. I wish him the best. Honestly, I honestly do. I mean, a couple more, and then obviously you have Rocco Stainos. They put that picture, and then Win Orlando says here, one of the very few ex-OCSC players who the quote "once a lion, always a lion" does not apply.
Ooh, that's tough, man.
That's tough right there, huh?
Yeah, that's
tough
harsh.
right
I'm not passing judgment, but oof, my goodness. You're entitled to your opinion, but that's cut.
Yeah, no. I mean, he gave his all. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, I know why the fans will feel that way, and I totally understand.
Time heals all wounds. Right now,
Right.
I'm writing sweet nothings to Kyle Aaron to come back here. The
That's
rumor was that we
right.
were in the hunt, and
Hey, man,
I asked some questions to people, and they didn't deny things. So I don't know.
you imagine Erjan Kara and Kyle Lowry up top. I don't think people will mind that, right? I don't think people will mind that.
Not me.
All right, but we'll go and dive into, keep leaving your comments. Orlando City versus Charlotte, right? What a game. I think
one of the best.
Well, I mean, it could have, selfie time, it was happy days, and just the conversations people were having on Facebook. It was just like, and it's funny because the people were saying, what are we going to complain now? Right. And I mean, it was just happy days. This is what the name of the title of today's show is, Happy Days, because, there really wasn't, I think I will point out, and I think I'm going to read a comment from Twitter, also from a person who sent a important message, right? And I think to give my first overview of the game, and then I'll pass it to Dave. I expect them winner to Charlotte. I think Charlotte came out with a high press the first 15 minutes of the game. As they couldn't get through because the backline of Orlando was working perfectly, their press started dwindling down, and the 3 in the middle started not communicating with each other. And Orlando took advantage of that. And then, in my opinion, in the second half, and at the end of the second half, they just went all out. And then they used the wings, right? They used the flanks. They call the flanks. They call them the wings. The flanks. And that's when not only Facundo, but Ruan started coming about. And that's honestly where Orlando's soccer and Orlando's football or football comes from, the flanks. every time Orlando has a great game on either flank, Orlando probably wins the game and has a lot of attacking prowess. I still believe Orlando needs to work a little bit on the finishing because they were a couple of times, a couple of things, and maybe, Orlando needed to finish a little bit better the play. That was just my opinion. But overall, I was surprised about Charlotte. Like, Charlotte wasn't doing anything. In the second half, I did notice almost the last 10 minutes, they started attacking a little bit more. And I think when Bender came in, which was the sub for Ortiz, when Ortiz came out and Bender came in, Bender, what a great player Charlotte has. I'm going to say right now, that kid needs to be a starter. If Ortiz doesn't pan out and you cannot have the three in the mid working, and it's Ortiz, the rotten apple, take him out and put Bender. Because yesterday with Bender, Alcivar, and Franco, that's how Charlotte got their goal. Even though, in my opinion, it was not a penalty, and Benji Michel agreed in post-press conference. Personally, Bender needs to start for Charlotte moving forward, in my opinion. But great result, and now we'll talk about that later. Orlando has a complicated schedule coming up, and we'll see how Orlando does. I personally do not want to see passive aggressiveness again. Like, we're one game, oh my God, no, throwing away the season, man. Can't do this, man. And then the next game, phenomenal game. Best game. I love you. Hearts. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta be a little bit consistent too, right? I'm just saying, because that's what I noticed. Right? Dave, what are your thoughts? First impressions of the game.
Well, first of all, I was expecting us not to lay an egg, because to be quite honest, the game last week left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. I felt that I just don't know what happened, and this man showed up.
Oh man,
I have to tell you that I did criticize Juan in the sense of, like, where's the guy that we love? Where's the guy that runs out there? And a lot of people were joking that he had read the comments and was ready for them. I can tell you this: he's not on Twitter, but he's definitely on Instagram. And some people said some very nasty things to him. Send him direct messages. I'm sorry, if you are the type of people that send disgusting direct messages to players, you don't love the club. Juan, out of all people, here's a guy that on his time off, with his church helps in our community.
A lot of people.
Super humble guy. Him and his wife, they're the nicest people I've ever met. Very, it's just an overall very nice guy. This is a guy, lost his mom, came back with the same intensity, because he could have been like, hey, I'm playing back because, I'm mourning, and everybody would have thrown him a towel. He came back with the same intensity. But he shut people up, and I'm happy for him, because one of the things that I just found out today was that our friend Juan Tejera is the second defender in our MLS history with a goal and an assist in a single match. And this feat was done first by Yoshimar Yotun. So Yoshimar left in 2019, right? So it has been that long since the last time one of our defenders had a shift. And I couldn't stop saying it at the game. The guy was just having a game. He was just not satisfied with a goal like that, which, by the way, Benji Michel and the genius of Robin Jansen on the assist on that goal. But then,
flick.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that's what you pay them on. That's what you pay them on. In my opinion, that's the cherry on top. All right, that's the salt on the rim of your shot. That's what you pay for that.
It's funny because in the post press conference he said, I saw him coming, so I'm typically not the type of player who makes the fancy plays, right? But because I saw it coming, I just let it, flicked it, a little flicked it, and like he didn't mean to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And luckily,
I found one on the on the far post.
uh,
And then the goal to me that has put Juan on the map is the one with Facundo Torres. To me,
yeah,
that goal, there's three things that are happening on this this piece of art. Number one, Mauricio Pereira understanding the how defensively bad Charlotte was at that point, flickers the ball. Juan takes it, and probably we haven't seen Juan like this in weeks, so it took me by surprise. But what makes the play even better is the foresight of Facundo Torres being tripped. Reminds
right.
me sort of like the what we were trying to do in DC a few years back that ended up in that golazo from Rooney. But he didn't stay down. He got himself up and foot per foot kept up with Juan, which is not an easy feat to do, especially when he has he has a start on you, and got that selfless pass, and we are 2-0, and the place goes crazy. And that video, obviously in Uruguay, they have played it a billion times already. All the European snobs in Spain that love Facundo Torres are praising Orlando. I mean, one of the guys in Spain, if I can remember his name, I'll tell you in a minute. That really hated the move to MLS. He's doing videos with our jersey,
Yeah,
loving the,
yeah.
I mean, it's just insanity. But yeah, but a lot of people while watching that video, they're like, "Hey, number two, what a great player! What a speedy player!" So Juan has put himself on the map, and obviously we see this picture here for the guys that are listening on audio. He has this homemade flash
Flash
mask
mask.
that came out of nowhere. When I saw him on live, I'm like, what is he doing? Fourth, I believe he got a yellow card for it. It's a fourth official.
Yeah, it's honestly, be honest with you, those are. I know that's a rule, right? It has to be a rule, and it is a rule in a lot of places in a lot of leagues. It is a stupid rule. I mean, if you take the jersey out, and in my opinion, it kills the spontaneity, and the love of soccer, right?
Takes away the flavor of the
Right, the
game.
flavor, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I
for sure.
mean, he's not doing anything obscene.
Yeah, which is interesting because if I hand him a pair of glasses or a hat, like a lot of people, it seems like the wall has a prop trunk there. The next thing you know, he's gonna walk around with the hammer from a Chapulín Colorado or something. I don't know. These
Right,
people are surprising me.
right,
But that's okay. That's not a
and
yellow, but because our man showed up with a mask. Which
that's right.
I don't know, man. MLS is gonna do what they want to do.
Yeah, it was a great celebration. Ahmed Salim. People are very quick to judge. Meanwhile, they couldn't make it from one end to the pitch to the other without an oxygen tank.
Uh, I have
Right,
said that. I have
right,
said that, Luis.
right. And not only that, I mean, the way they bashed Mauricio Pereira and the last two, even the Red Bulls game. I'll say the Red Bulls was a bad game for everybody, but the one before that, um, great game by Mauricio Pereira. When Mauricio Pereira
I
has a
know.
great game, it seeps into the whole entire team because I mean, the way he distributed the ball against Charlotte. Now you have to understand, Mauricio Pereira came from the Russian league, right? And these three amigos that Charlotte had, they won cups, not just any cup, a higher level than MLS, just CONMEBOL, and in the respective clubs. So I expected, like, more of a fought battle, and Mauricio just ate him up, carve him up. He just carved him up.
Yep.
And then your wing game, your flank game became the way Orlando needed to, go for the attack on that particular game. They found their niche, right? I'm on attack on the flanks, and I want to go ahead and bring out the starting lineup too. And This is how the teams played, right? And honestly, you know, Ruan with a goal, Facundo Torres with a goal, both in the right flank. So just think about that. Benji, I think he had an acceptable game. I just think
Mhm.
he even said it in his post press conference. He needs to be a little bit more, you know, maybe not do one extra touch, right? Just kind of have a little bit more confidence, and that's probably gonna get there. Hopefully in the next few games, because we're definitely gonna need a lot out of Benji. I think Orlando's gonna need a lot out of Benji because we have a tough schedule coming
Yeah.
up.
Oh, we sure do. We're gonna be road warriors this May and June.
And I think if I have to kind of talk about the next game too, Thomas Williams. I think it's gonna be Thomas Williams and Rodrigo Schlegel,
Because
and
Robin Jansen got suspended. Yellow
which
card accumulation.
which again, honestly, I think that ref, my friend, he was just horrible. He was just horrible. He was just not, the officiating was, there was one play in which one of the Charlotte players almost completely injures Benji, and
Right.
then after that he didn't call not even a yellow card, and then after that there were, no, I think before that there were two handballs, and he was right there.
Yes.
Like at the press box, I was like, "What are you doing? There's two handballs."
Two handballs, and then there was a foul that basically looked like a pile driver on Mauricio Pereira. That, in my opinion, uh, had the Charlotte player been maybe 50, 60 more pounds, he would have broke his rib cage. That knocked the air out of him. And we are not even touching the subject that Sylvester Van der Water left injured.
Oh
Some
yeah,
people are saying Achilles
Achilles.
tendon. Other people saying that he rolled his ankle. We don't know because obviously the club hasn't said anything. Usually, on these situations, they wait a day. They get evaluated on Monday, and then the club
Yeah,
makes a statement. But he was. I was commenting to my friend that the ref was about to lose complete control of the game if he allowed that. And in my opinion, he sort of did. Thankfully, did not go into majors. But again, we keep expecting the best from pro. Pro is what it is, and I have
yeah, but honestly, Dave, Pro needs to get it together. I mean, and if I'm gonna get in trouble, I'll get in trouble. I honestly don't care. The U.S. is gonna host a World Cup in 2026. These people cannot, under no circumstance. I'm hoping and praying that things get better. I wish them the best. I hope they, but it is bad officiating after bad officiating, not just Orlando being the team that is affected. I'm not saying just because of Orlando, I'm saying a lot of teams. It's bad officiating. These are amateur people. These are people that are not professionals. You compare the level of officiating in South America, let's say a country that is not doing so well economically, Argentina, right? You grab some of those referees, like compared to the ones that you see, like Fostis Basacos from, that's the name of the ref for this game. I mean, night and day, man, completely night and day. And I believe it just makes the league. It makes people with a richer soccer culture question our league.
our integrity too.
Of course, it's like, how these guys gonna host a freaking World Cup if they don't have good refs? Refs don't even know, like they cannot even spot two handballs.
I think one of the things that I like about the English system is that just like teams and players, the refs do get promoted. It's like everybody starts at the
Right.
very bottom and they gotta work themselves. So when you are talking about a ref that is in the Premiership, if this is a professional that is making a salary, obviously you always have to keep them well paid. Otherwise, they are. I'm not saying that they will, because integrity should be part of their moral fiber, but you also don't want people to, buy their way into wins, like it happens in a lot of our countries. But that's something that it promotes the quality. So the refereeing matches the quality of the player, matches the type of intensity that we're gonna have on the pitch. Here in the United States, my wife worked with MLS ref that basically was a substitute teacher in the off season. I mean, those are realities, my friends. Their uncle, who everybody likes to crap on, he's a lawyer in Tampa. I mean, he practices law when he's not refereeing during the season. So these are the type of things that happen. These are part timers, quote unquote, the best that we have. But if we're gonna be investing on the physical aspect, the stadiums. Obviously, this weekend we had our newest soccer-specific stadium in Nashville. We're gonna invest on that. We're gonna invest on bringing the academies and all this. We need to invest on this because one of the things that MLS fans can all agree is that it needs to be quality. I don't mind losing, Luis. I have said this before. Right. I don't mind losing to a better team, but to bad refereing decisions. 3 times in the history of our club in MLS, it has cost us dearly. And
no, not only that, I think the MLS needs to create their own. I mean, if they work close with FIFA, and they are hosting the 2026 World Cup, and most of the games are going to be played in stadiums, MLS soccer specific stadiums too, which I think they should. I think the MLS needs to create their own referees, their own referee academy, because you cannot have pro like for the World Cup. You just can't have these people, in my opinion. I know I'm probably getting in trouble, but I mean, honestly, it is the facts. You can't have those people. They don't even know how to spot 2 handballs. They don't even know what is overly aggressiveness on the pitch. I mean, what that kid, maybe not intentional, did to Benji Michel on that game was just uncalled for. And what they did to Antonio Carlos too. Remember what they did to Antonio Carlos? It cost us dearly. Antonio Carlos is not going to be part of our lineup. He still has a lot of months to recover. And it is insane. I do want to say, talking about the positives, personally, 17,012 screaming fans packed Spiller Stadium, which was a great sight to see, and then Coach Oscar Pareja said, and I'm a quote here, "It's good to get back to good results. The victory, the 3 points, the goals, and the first half are the things I will highlight today." Mauricio Pereira setting a record with assists, Robin Jensen as well with an important honor with 100 games. All those things are positive, and we enjoyed the victory. By responsibility as well as the coaches is to see that in the second half, we did not dominate as much, and we need to become a team that has consistency throughout the game. I'm very pleased today with the effort coming off of a difficult result. This one was great, is what he said. So what are your thoughts on what Oscar said, Dave? I think it was spot on.
I mean, I can't add to anything else to what he said. The fact of the matter is, I was pleased to see our fans showing up. I don't know what we need to do to go over that little hump that prevents us from having a full house. That has been discussed ad nauseum, and like I said, that's why it's critical that us as fans we need to see what other people are saying about us. People that come with a blank page, and like I said, I got to experience that this weekend with somebody that has never seen Orlando City, has never been to the U.S., has never experienced MLS. And also with Alice and his YouTube video, which represented our club beautifully to an audience. Because this is another thing. He's one of the biggest YouTubers out of England, and this is our letter of introduction to a lot of fans that perhaps have not given MLS a chance because of what they hear. And Ellis addresses that in his video, where he says that a lot of people patronizes the MLS and don't give it a shot, don't give it a chance. And that's all I can ask from people. Watch it. If you tell me it's the worst, I don't want it, I don't like it. And that's what I was telling my friend Kai on the way there. I said to him, it's not the best football in the world, but it's fun, it's entertaining, and who will turn away a night at the stadium? And the way he described the night afterwards, to me, was incredible.
Is this your friend?
Yes. Oh, there you go. There we go. So this a little story about this picture. Kyle Lyles, who's there, he's a fellow Stevenage fan. Um, Saturday morning our time, afternoon in England. Stevenage was playing one his its last away game,
Right.
and Kai tweeted to the team with that jersey that you see there. He had his jersey on. He said, "Hey, I'm in Orlando on holiday. I can't be at the game. Go Stevenage." And Dominic Jordan, who's the CEO of Stevenage, immediately tagged me and said, "Hey, you guys need to come together." And I tweeted him. I invited him to an Orlando City game. Obviously, I'm wearing my third kid Stevenage jersey, which is
Yeah, the
purple.
purple. That's
Yeah,
great.
which by the way, this was
Fantastic.
voted the best third kid jersey for this season that is about to finish in
That's
England.
great.
A great jersey. And anyhow, so it was cool to spend some time, talking about the club that I follow in England. Obviously, Kai lives there, and again to introduce him to new football. He left the place an Orlando City fan. I gotta tell you that right now.
That's great.
I shared that picture in our Facebook group for Steven Edge, and people are like, "Hey, I can't wait in June." There's several more friends that are gonna be joining me at Exploria. So this is my friends. This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. You want people to come over. You want people to join the madness. You invite people. You invite people, and people will come. And it's that simple. If you want to hear about his thoughts and his opinion about American football, our culture, the wall, everything else, he talked to our friends at Orlando City Fan TV. So later on this week, the video is gonna come out, and obviously you're gonna be able to get his impressions. But like I said, the man left impressed. This is a guy that lives in a city 40 minutes north of London, accessible to some of the best football in the world, arguably, and he couldn't stop telling me how great of an atmosphere, how passionate the fans, how knowledgeable the fans, how respectful the fans, and the three things that surprised him. Number one, you can drink while watching the game, and it did not create fights among the fans. Two, the fans from the away and the home team are not separated, and still no fights. And lastly, he couldn't stop talking about how bad the refs are. He's
Right.
like, the refs are horrible, and I said, well,
I mean, that's
we can't be perfect,
right.
but yeah, like I said, it was a great night of football. Had a fun time, and like I said, when you win, everything is great.
Happy days.
Yes, sir.
Brian Guerrero, that's Reyes. Yeah, Reyes. Yeah, I know Reyes actually. We've he was interested in uh, my Spanish outlet is called Ladra el Fútbol. Ladra el Fútbol. We talk about South American soccer and Peruvian league, and you know it's just you're gonna get. I mean, there's got you gotta know the league and live here to understand the MLS. And even there's people here in the United States that still downplay the MLS, and they live here. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So because and they rather be Real Madrid fans or whatever the crazy and not support where they live. I know people like that. Unfortunately,
Oh, we all do. We all do.
Chad Coast here says MLS refs don't like us. I agree. I do
Mhm.
agree. Jim D, those two handballs were literally 30 feet from me, even when Vanderwater got injured.
My goodness,
Pro is crap.
we can all agree.
Trash. Chad Coast here.
We need
Again with that.
t-shirts. We need
Yeah,
t-shirts.
yeah. And going into, before I go into Montreal, we're gonna go into Montreal. Something that I noticed that I think we need to take a look into that, because we're gonna face another team that we never faced before, and that's gonna be Austin. And one thing that worked for Orlando that I noticed is that the players are getting used to play with each other, and I started seeing a lot of like movements that I've seen in different other games. So they know where they are even without the ball. So things, and I did not see the same thing with Charlotte, for example. Even though they have a fantastic midfield, I didn't see that. And why? Because obviously Charlotte just his first year in the MLS, and these are players that never play together, you know, collectively. And you have, if you look at our backline, just our backline, Rodrigo Schlegel, 2 seasons, Moutinho, you know what I mean, Jensen, Ruan, Pedro. Then you have our mid, you know, you already have a core of Mendes and Urso playing together. Now you bring Araujo, that guy used to, you know, so in the key positions, Orlando has players that are already mentally, they know, okay, I know Ruan is right on my right. I'm probably, instead of passing to him because he's going to go into attack, I maybe pass it to Pedro. So there's already this mental, they already know what they're going to do. You know, they already know
Consistency, yeah.
Right. They already know their next move. While I did not see about Charlotte, we need to take advantage of that. And I think against Austin, we could probably do that, the same thing. And
Austin's gonna be a tough nut to crack because we are playing in their field. It's
yeah,
gonna be a pack house,
beautiful
and
stadium.
you know
Beautiful
they
stadium.
can't wait to have us because obviously they consider us a city that stole the Austin Aztecs when in reality Austin stole itself on that one. I mean, the audacity.
Wow.
I'll wait until we have to play them to
That's
talk
crazy.
about that.
Yeah. That
But
is a
you
good
know,
story.
a city that was okay taking the Columbus Crew away from Columbus has the audacity to say that. Okay, fine, whatever. But yeah, we talked about this, Luisa, the consistency, having, you know, because for 5 years we were like basically end of the season, 15 players out the door, 15 new ones, and that never created an environment that was conducive to victories. And now we have that, thank God. So now we're gonna go on the road to Montreal, a team that is dying to settle the score.
Sure.
It's going to be very interesting. Montreal has been a very difficult place for us. Last 2 times that we have played over there, they have been victories. Last time we were up north or north of the border was when we went up in the last, well, I believe it was the last game of the season in order to see if we were going to go to the playoffs or not. And at that point, a golazo by Sebas Mendes and the kiss of death from Daryl Dike is what secured our victory. And you know that they are not, you know, we defeated them in the home opener, and they're hungry. They defeated Atlanta 2-1. I mean, they are a tough team. I mean, whatever deficiencies they had, Luis, they have corrected them. So for us, it's gonna be a big test going out to Canada this coming up Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough test, definitely for Orlando City, and because there are some important players that are playing at a very high level for Montreal, and I'm going to name them. Lassi Lapailanen, he's played against Orlando. Every single game they play against the Lions, he's been one of the top players, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Kamal Miller, that he was just, I think, nominated. He's also part of the Team of the Week. Just I wish I was going to mention either way. We were going to congratulate Ruan for being on Team of the Week. But one former Lion and one Lion are in the Team of the Week. Kamal Miller is in the Team of the Week in the MLS. Fantastic game against Atlanta.
Oh yeah, a total football. And again, I'm so angry that we lost them in that expansion draft.
And then another one to take a look at, and I mean, Romel Kyoto, every time he's played with Orlando, he's got a red card. So we need to just make sure. I mean, you have to understand, more than likely, a young player like Thomas Williams will be the person who will be in charge of making sure he's in check, right? And Romel Kyoto, knowing, and I'm sure all the fans that are listening and watching this could agree with me, he's going to try to look for that contact. Now, Thomas is a fantastic defender. This is a huge test for him. If he passes with flying colors this particular test against Romel Kyoto, I guarantee you we have a hell of a center back. And I have no doubt he's going to have the personality to handle him. And then another player, when Kyoto was expelled last game against Orlando, the player who became pretty much the anchor of the whole mid and attack was Victor Wanyama. He played in Celtic for many years, fantastic player. He could play in the attack and he could be a great six as well. And he's, again, a physical player. He's going to try to look for that contact, try to fall, try to commit the foul to get a set piece. And then you have another player that is great, that is Mihailovic. Mihailovic, in my opinion, he set piece galore. He's a great cross. His crosses are fantastic. And I just think, we have, and I want to say, we've played against Montreal a couple times now.
Mm-hmm.
On this game, we probably need to, we know what's coming, right? So I think the players should, not just park the bus and expect, because they're gonna go for the kill. So we need to be containing, regain possession, and attempt our game on the flanks. I think Orlando City has had really good games when Kamal Miller played with Montreal. So maybe Oscar knows a way of neutralizing both their backs, right? The left back and the right back. And, in those positions, we have players like Alexandre Pato, like Facundo Torres, like Benji Michel,
Mm-hmm.
and also Ruan can also play that flank. So it's going to be a tough game for sure. And, Montreal fans are wanting to make it difficult for Orlando fans, especially after, them deeming that Romel Kyoto didn't do anything wrong and he should have never gotten ejected, right? So,
yeah, well, I was there and he did everything necessary to get kicked out of that game. What complicates things, my friends, is the fact that next Tuesday, we're gonna have Open Cup against the Philadelphia Union, and I can't tell you this, Luis. I spoke with maybe 6 or 7 people.
Schedule right here for you.
Yes, 6 or 7 people that are also listeners or viewers of the show, and everyone said the same thing. On Tuesday, we better have starting 11 because we cannot afford to sit anybody for the Philadelphia Union. Philadelphia Union had a tie this past weekend against Nashville. They look very dangerous, Luis. And if you ask me my humble opinion, I would rather take an L at Montreal or a tie and win Tuesday, because the opportunity to lift a trophy is better at the Open Cup, and this fan base, this club is hungry for a trophy. So my expectations of Montreal are to be honest with you, we can afford dropping points if we have to. But to me, the priority, and if and I can be wrong, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but to me, the Open Cup is right there for the taking. While other clubs are still playing USL 1 teams, non-league teams, USL Championship teams, we are playing the crop of the East for our game. While Miami's playing a USL League 1 team, we're playing a equal. So to me,
right.
That should be the priority.
And Philly's a contender for the.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, respect to where respect is.
And they have a great coach. They have a great squad. I have a lot of respect for Philly as well. Look, there's a lot of things that could happen, and if I'm correctly, I think Thomas Williams will be the starter as a center back. I'm concerned because we have a lot of depth, I think, in other places, but the defense is where we lost Jensen. So Jensen for sure, I see him playing against Philadelphia for sure. The thing is, will Rodrigo play? And I agree with you. I think Orlando needs to play with the most A squad that they have against this team. In the end, I know it's Oscar Pareja's decision, and he knows what's best for the club and it's his team and all that good stuff. But honestly, it's a great opportunity for Orlando to definitely get some silverware. And I think with Montreal, we can definitely we already know how to contain them, and I believe we can hopefully get a good result. I think if Orlando plays the way they play against Columbus and Charlotte, the first few minutes of the game, making sure we're containing, we're taking over possession and we are doing attacking plays through the wings. And Ruan is playing at that level, and we got Facundo playing at that great level, or taking advantage of our set pieces, right? Also, too, because Facundo is a type of player too that he's prone to be fouled a lot by a lot of rivals. If Orlando is up 2-0 against Montreal, I'll start thinking maybe in the second half I'll make some changes here. Because I want to save some players for the Philly game. I do agree with you. I know it's a Tuesday. I know it's going to be tough. I'll be there for sure. But it's a game that Orlando needs to certainly win.
And Philadelphia is going to be playing Saturday at LAFC. So in my opinion, their situation it's worse than ours. But I wouldn't be surprised that they sacrifice that game because it's against a Western team that if they drop points, it doesn't count against, another team in their conference. Like I said, it's a tough decision. I feel that we've been so close before to the Open Cup trophy that we can't just let it go like that this year.
No, I agree with you. But look, if Montreal wins, they'll go up in the standings. We will go down fourth, and then we have to wait till New York loses. New York is playing against Sporting KC in New York. In my opinion, more than likely that'll be a W for New York.
Of course.
Even though they don't have a stadium, but that's another story. And actually, no, they're probably going to play at the Red Bull Stadium. So, wow, that's great. And then you got Montreal. So it is. I mean, Montreal is going to go for the kill.
Yeah, for sure.
So they're in their home stadium. They're going to Saputo Park, I think it's called.
Yeah, and Montreal is a Canadian team. They're not part of the U.S. Open Cup. The Canadian championship. It's
right.
It's a championship that either Montreal or Toronto or Vancouver win. They just take turns practically. That tournament is super easy. They dominate that. So again, if Oscar Pareja is listening, that would be my wish as a fan, to put priority on the Open Cup versus a league game. I wouldn't mind parking the bus and just go for the 0-0. I'm okay with that because I'm looking at the long run. There's a comment there directed at me. Let's see here by Antonio
Rodriguez. Yo, David, I asked this in the comments in your recent vid, but I'll ask again. What do you think of the possibility of getting well-known French League One Brazilian center back Jemerson? He just got released.
Well, do we have the money? Do we have the spot?
He's also 29. And we arguably need another center back just in case one of the main guys gets injured, just like Antonio Carlos. We can't risk it. Okay, what are your thoughts there?
Well, Antonio, I think I responded to you. If I'm not mistaken, I responded to a ton of people. So pardon me if I'm wrong on this, but my view was with Gastón González out of the equation, like we said, the window closes Wednesday. We already had enough time to understand that he's not going to be here. Is our club going to make a stopgap decision like we did last year where we brought Emmanuel Mas on a short contract to sort of get us over the hump? So there's a possibility. A player of this talent.
Well, I think he got I think Dave will be back. But let's take a look here at Jemerson. Have him right here.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. So I don't know what the fans heard, but
I think you cut off again.
So listen, I'm all for bringing players. Now the problem here is the international spot.
Right.
because
Right. And this is what I wanted to also bring up since you're cutting in and out. Jemerson, right? So we're looking at the transfer market. Anybody can go ahead and go ahead and do this. He's playing League One for Monaco, right? But look where he's played, right? He's played. All right, look. So he played in Democrata, which is probably like a third division squad in Brazil. Then he went to Atlético Mineiro B. Then he got into we went from Atlético Mineiro in 2016. Then he went to Monaco, and then he played 4 years in Monaco, probably his best years, right? 5.5 million price tag, and then he went to Corinthians, one of the biggest clubs in Brazil as well, right? And then after 2021, he's been dwindling without a club in several months. And that to me, it's a red flag. If you want me, because Antonio Carlos, we know he was in Palmeiras, and I mean this guy didn't have a club. I mean, you can see it right there. He didn't have a club for a couple months. Then he went back to Mets. Then without a club. So I mean, nonetheless, I think we need to definitely revamp the center back position for sure. But and I think it'll be probably. I mean, I don't know. Emmanuel Mas came from Boca Juniors, right? Dave, right? Emmanuel Mas came from Boca Juniors, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I think it's definitely going to be. It's a good point that you make, but I think I would love to just look maybe within the MLS rather than wasting an international spot. I mean, we can find a good prospect, a good center back, that we can offer up for a trade or go from there. Because if I'm a scout and I see a lot of without clubs, it's kind of like a resume, right? When you work on your resume and you work at a place for only like 3 or 4 months, people ask you, why is that? Are you injury prone? For a soccer player, are you injury prone? Are you a conflict? You spark conflict in the locker room. So it just makes you ask a lot of questions. You're back, Dave. Are you there? Oh no, you're still not talking. Okay, let's read some comments here. Jim D. I love playing with one of the top in the East early in the Open Cup. I would rather get knocked out early and focus on MLS or beat the best and have a realistic shot at the cup. Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, I think as and no soccer player wants to go into a game and lose, right? So Orlando needs to figure out a way to have their best squads for both, and I think that's going to come with a lot of changes, and that's why Orlando needs to be up in the scoring board early. The first 20 minutes, it has to be an Orlando goal. So that's just my opinion. But I do agree with that. I think the Open Cup is such a great opportunity to get some silverware. Okay, so let's move on. We have Tom Bogert. I want to talk about. I know a lot of people saying Tom Bogert. We're almost close to the end of the show. Before we go into Tom Bogert, or Bogert, which is a journalist, I want to congratulate Ruan, right? Ruan and obviously Kamal Miller. They were picked on the team of the week for MLS. Klimala, which had not a so good game against us. Red Bulls top striker for now in the team of the week. Are you there, Dave?
yeah, don't know what happened. My apologies.
Yeah, it's okay. No, so we switch gears here regarding the team of the week, right? So Ruan is in the team of the week with Kamal Miller, former Lion, and then obviously this guy right here, Jerussi. When we play against Austin, this guy is going to be a good matchup for Orlando City for sure. I think it'll be a great matchup to face him. What an exciting player Austin has right there. And what are your thoughts of the team of the week, Dave?
Oh no, well deserved for Juan. Absolutely breaking records. Shutting down the haters, and in my opinion, well deserved man of the match. On top of that, I hope he's bringing that energy to Montreal. We're gonna need it. Again, like we were discussing before, I had the connection problems there. We have to prioritize to me on a trophy, and this is the type of situation that is going to and our bench and our players. They're gonna have to play with the heart of a lion. No pun.
Oof, I think he went off again, unfortunately. All right, Tom Bogert, famous. So talking about a little bit of the Chris Mueller situation. Tom Bogert says, "Good move for Chicago. Gives them a different dynamic. We'll soon be able to choose from Jairo Torres, Chris Mueller, Fabian Herbers, Stanislav Ivanov,
Yep.
and
Okay.
Brian."
Sorry about that.
There you go. Yeah, you completely were gone for like 2 minutes,
Yeah.
which
Sorry about
which
that. So
yeah.
the point is, we gotta win. That's it. Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's okay. So we were talking about, Tom Bogert, right? Tom Bogert, he just tweeted this, right, regarding Chris Mueller. This is a good move for Chicago, gives them a different dynamic. He will be, Chicago will be able to choose from Jairo Torres, Chris Mueller, Fabian Herbers, Stanislav Ivanov, Brian Gutierrez on either side of Sheridan Shaqiri and Prisvilko, right? All the pieces are there. So he's just praising the move, right? Well, at least Orlando City is getting something back, right? It says here, Antonio Rodriguez, love the input. Thanks, guys. You brought up the possibly going for trades instead, etc. Is there any center backs you guys have in mind? I'm scared that we will face a center back crisis if one more injury happens.
No, that's very true.
No, that's true. I mean,
Uh,
within the league, why don't you go, Dave?
Within the league, I think right now, Portland, Sporting Kansas City.
I don't think he definitely
Okay, I'm back. Jesus, I don't know what's happening with my computer. So can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so like I said, Sporting Kansas City, Portland, LAFC are teams that will be willing to. Personally, if you ask me, selfishly, I will go for Zarek Valentin out of Houston. That's just me. He's distantly related to me. He's Puerto Rican. He's in the national team, and he's very good. So that's what I will do. That's the player I will go for.
Sure. Personally, I will say, um, there's the, international spot. We need to look within the league, right? And we maybe need to look into also, League Two, maybe, MLS Next Pro. We need to find a diamond in the rough because depth at center back we do have. It's just that at the moment, Antonio Carlos being down, you know,
Well, we have
I
Freeman, right? Freeman is a center back.
Freeman is also, yeah, he could play center back and he could play left back. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then you also have Kyle Smith, and that's another thing I wanted to say. You got Kyle Smith, and then you also, and this is gonna sound crazy, right? But I kind of been seeing it when Oscar tried to do his three defenders out back. He started playing the 3-5-2. So three defenders, five midfielders, and two attackers. He was doing that the past few games. Not on this last game, but he had at some point Cesar Araujo.
Mm-hmm.
So he, in a way, I could see Oscar being okay. Shoot, we're down. I have
Mm-hmm.
Mendes and Urso admit, and then maybe Araujo could help out a center back, being one of the center backs, or as a wing, a left back, right? And it could be, but I think he makes a good point. This is
Joel
here.
played center back in college. That's another possibility.
We have Kembol Guadalupe. Yeah, we have Kembol Guadalupe, but in my opinion, Kembol Guadalupe, he's representing under 20s,
Mm-hmm.
no US under 20s. He's an exciting player, but in my opinion, he has not gotten enough minutes at OCB. And the two games that I've seen of Kembol this season, where you know the first game he came back, both goals came through his side. So I just think it's a matter of him having that continuous play. He needs to continue playing every single game for OCB as a starter, and then get used to the rhythm. And then once he gets used to the rhythm, I think he's going to be a hell of a center back for sure. And if the U.S. is going to call him up and he's going to have a chance to play for the U.S. men's national team, I say to the Peruvian media, sorry, guys. You know what I mean? You lost your chance, because he also did under 20s for the Peruvian national team. He did under 20s, and they didn't call him up and U.S. sent out the invitation, and I'm not going to judge him. He accepted, and he's going to go and try it out and see what
He's gonna do
happens,
what's
right?
best for him.
What's best for him, and I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. I think he's a young man that has a very level-headed person, and I wish him the best always. Great comment by Colin Garvey, I want to say. He says here he's not sure how he is at the moment, though. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think Orlando will be okay. The schedule is what scares me the most, right? Coming up, it's going to be quite a roller coaster.
Hmm.
You're coming to Montreal, then playing your, you're playing your Open Cup game, and then you're leaving to Toronto
Yes.
4 days later, right? It's going to
Another tough
be.
matchup in a
That's
place
right.
where we have never won.
Right. That's right. And before we close, obviously, unfortunately, the Orlando Pride, they dropped points on their home opener. You know, great, great. A couple of bright spots for sure, but I mean,
Let's call it
Gotham's.
for what it is. It was disappointing. It was
Yeah,
a
it
real,
was
real, really bad.
it was disappointing. That really, the bright spots were maybe Gunny John's daughter, who's playing a high level. James as well, the Welsh international. But just I don't. It's. I was very surprised about Viviana Villacorta, so young, just came out of ACL injury, playing
Hmm.
at a very high level, recouping that ball with a lot of drive. I think she's going to be so influential for the Pride coming up. And then I think and also Carrie Abello from Penn State, hell of a game. And those are the bright spots I see for the Pride. But the rest was just there were nothing was linking up for them. I mean, the attacking plays were being met with a great back line that was neutralizing them, and the few chances they had, they weren't producing anything in attack. And I think it's just a matter of them having time to gel together a little bit better. But you have to understand they have a fan base that is hungry for wins, and they're so passionate that they want to see their
Yeah,
team win.
absolutely.
But I think Coach Cromwell, she has this under control. It's just these are young. I mean, the old guard gone past, right? And these are new players. And then also they've had some injuries, right? Like Maggie Doherty Howard down, and then I think and a couple of other players that are sidelined with injuries. Um, you know, I personally believe that there is a bright light out there, and I hope the next game the Orlando Pride continues. It's a long season, but it's the first game. No one wants to lose their home opener, right?
Right, of course.
Especially down 3-0. Yeah, and in the first 20 minutes they scored two on you. I think that's pretty
Yeah,
pretty tough.
I think this season is going to be, in my opinion, um, it's going to be on Amanda Cromwell's shoulders. Like you said, the fan base is tired of losing. They are not dumb. They see what's happening with Orlando City. They see the improvements there. They want the same for the Pride. The Pride deserves better. To be honest with you, it was badly constructed, very arrogant moves in the first 2 years that handicap the growth of this team. So, in my opinion, they have to do something drastic this year. They have to show improvement. Otherwise, heads will have to roll, in my opinion, because that's how it is. It's a result driven industry. And if when I talk to Pride fans, like I say, if they're like, they go to Orlando City games, or they go to Pride, they describe it as a cold shower, because the night before they went and they saw that great victory, and then Sunday they go to a game, and what happened? You have to eat
Yeah.
3 goals in your own house. But
Yeah.
and the goalkeeper happened to be the goalkeeper that we have for ages, that will let them in by the dozen, and then all of a sudden she has a Pedro Galese performance.
Right, and not only that, but one thing I noticed, and Amanda Cromo said it right, and I think she's right on the money. She said players now have to be accountable of what they're doing now, and I think they're getting to that point of being accountable for each other. So, for example, you let the rival team's winger pass you. That's your responsibility, because you are the right back. You should have stopped that winger, right?
Hmm.
So players are learning that. You gotta understand, these are college level players that they're getting to the game now. So she talked about sports psychologists coming into the team and talking to them and stuff. So I mean, this is things that are moving, and I'm confident because there's a lot of exciting players there. It's just that they haven't gotten the time to completely play with that with memory movements, like maybe we've seen Orlando City play now, especially against
Hmm.
Charlotte. That where Facundo is going to be at. Benji knows where Moutinho, if he's behind him, he knows where to pass the ball to him. You see what I'm saying? So you know those type of movements you don't see in the Pride, because there's been so many changes. So let's wait and see. I'm excited to say that Orlando City had 17,000 supporters against Charlotte, and then Orlando Pride also had quite a lot of good, a good, a lot of fans came to for the home opener, and I hope that continues within the season, because those players, the Carriabellos, the Viviana Villacortas, then Angar James,
Hmm.
all the young players, the Yuli Doyles that had her first start and everything, um, they deserve that emotion from the crowd. So hopefully people come support. The last two comments before we go, I want to thank everybody. Antonio Rodriguez, and you start, Dave. What are you guys' opinions on Sebas not starting too much? I feel like how good he's doing for Ecuador. He deserves to start game in, game out. I do like Urso and Araujo though, but it's a shame. Uh,
It's we're getting to that point where we are having to make tough decisions. His contract is up this year, I believe in the summer, if I'm not mistaken, for renewal. Or so we don't know if we are going to allow him to move on. If we do, it will be on a free, which we can't keep doing that. We have to profit from the players that we have. If he decides to stay in MLS and it goes to the East, that's going to be detrimental to our hopes for this year or next. So sadly, again, you bring a much younger player that gives you about the same. That's just part of the game sometimes.
yeah. To
What
me,
else?
honestly, very professional young man. Dedicated to his craft, dedicated to the club, dedicated to learn the language. Like everybody wants to press, oh, Seba speaks English. It's like, yeah, he speaks English. Yeah.
Mhm.
So he in his off time, he's taking care of himself, taking care of learning everything, and making sure he knows that the MLS is a pathway to Europe.
Absolutely.
And in order to get to that, it's easier for him to learn the language, learn the costume. So he's a very professional man. I personally believe, in my heart, this is just my opinion, I think he's Orlando through and through. I think he might seek renewal, hopefully. um you know Hopefully. And yeah, I mean, he's playing great for Ecuador. for sure. He's going to go to the World Cup. But Orlando has never had this depth on the mid ever. When you have Araujo, you have Urso, and you have Mendes. And there are games for Sebas Mendes, and there are games for Urso, and there's games for Araujo. And Araujo has been the most consistent because, number one, he's younger. He's been very good recouping the ball, even though his fouls have gone down tremendously now. But he's still being that physical presence. And I think the switches are either Urso or Mendes starting several games. And there are games that Araujo is not playing at all, and that you see Urso and Mendes. So there's a lot to choose for Oscar Pareja, and I think I trust his judgment personally.
Absolutely.
All right, last comment before we go, and then you go, Dave. Jim D, with this upcoming schedule, fans are about to lose their minds. We'll be on an emotional roller coaster. Get your Prozac ready.
MLS, baby. Welcome to MLS. No, Luis, before we go, I want to say something. This podcast is always for the fans and about the fans, and Luis and I are fans ourselves. Last show, I made some comments of where I singled out an OCB player, and one of our listeners reached out to me, just like all of you guys can do the same, and basically told me that that was not right to do because OCB is a development team. That if I'm gonna talk about one player, I should talk about all of them, and you're absolutely correct. I'm gonna reserve the name of the friend that told me that, and I just want to apologize for that. In a moment of fan passion, I single out this player. It's a young man that is just trying to make headway in the world, and for that reason, I just want to say that in the future, if we are going to be discussing OCB, we're going to do it with a different measuring bar, if you will, because they're younger guys, some fresh out of the academy, and it's not fair to sort of hold them at the same standard as the pros that have been toiling away over the years. So that's that. The other thing, please check out my vlog, The Legendary David on YouTube. Of course, you guys can reach me out at Florida_man76. And lastly, our friends at OC Fan TV are going to be having a watch party this coming up Saturday, 4 p.m., May 7th at the Tin Roof. So go out to their social media, check it out, and go there and make a lot of noise and enjoy yourselves down there on I Drive. And Luis, that's it for me. As always, vamos Orlando.
Well, I want to thank everybody. Subscribe to our Twitter at LPO_podcast. We're on Facebook as Loud and Proud Orlando. Also, click the notification bell for all notifications on YouTube. Click we're almost at the 400 mark, getting there. Let's get to 500 in the next month. Pass the word around. Anybody that's an Orlando City fan, join LPO. We have a lot of good content. A lot of more things are coming. A lot of cool interviews are about to take place the next few months. So people are going to be very excited about what we're about to make happen here. So thank you so much for your support, and check me out at Pineda_ORL on Twitter and Instagram. And also soon there's going to be a Loud and Proud Orlando account on Instagram as well, which we're going to have all of our Orlando content right there. And then I will be having a different Twitter and a different Instagram. Which
and we have a surprise, Luis. For the show, the beginning of the show is going to be different soon. So.
Oh yeah. There's going to be a new intro coming up, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, I want to thank.
I've seen it. I'm sorry, let's interrupt. I've seen it. It's just awesome. That's all.
Yeah. So I wanna thank Alvaro Pesan, my friend from Ladra el Fútbol, for my Spanish outlet. He's a magician with all the stuff, with the videos, and I want to thank him for sure. So thank you so much, Alvaro, for that. And it's coming probably by next episode. We'll have a new intro and everything. And I want to thank every single person who talks to Dave out on the street and shakes their hand and say, "Hey, I love your show," and also everybody that adds me on social media. We do this in a lot of passion. I'm a UCF grad. I grew up in Orlando. I got married in Orlando. Everything I've done. I live West Orlando, downtown Orlando, Kissimmee. we do this for the city beautiful, and we're very passionate, and we definitely appreciate all the good feedback we've had, and also the feedback that we need to improve. So, and again, I want to thank Orlando City Communications for some of the footage and pictures and things like that. Thank you so much. And vamos Orlando, right, Dave? We'll see you next week.
Vamos, Orlando.
Vamos Orlando. Thank you.